Welcome to Moments That Impact. When I think about the value of prayer, I can't ignore the specific kind of prayer that's been referred to as prevailing prayer. To prevail means to be mighty, to be fervent. And there are certain emotions that go along with it in order for it to be considered prevailing prayer. Matthew 26 captures a moment when Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane. And if you recall, he brought 3 of his disciples with him closer as he was praying. The others stood afar off. James, Peter, and John were in the inner circle. And so Jesus went a little bit further, started praying, and then when he did, you're going to capture the picture of what prevailing prayer looks like. He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me." I want you to see prevailing prayer. It has deep emotional anguish associated with it. Something is bothering you to such a point that you pour out your heart. It's like the Bible says in 1 Samuel 1. When Hannah was in the temple and she was so filled with anguish and sorrow because she was barren, she poured out her soul before the Lord. Have you ever prevailed in prayer? Have you ever poured out your soul before the Lord? Now, there might be something troubling you. And you may have just said, well, let me go and get a diversion, go and watch television, go and do something else. But that may not be the solution. What you need to do is take this page out of Jesus' playbook and go and pour out your heart before the Lord. Allow your emotions that you're feeling, whether it's anguish, whether it's anger, whether you feel betrayed, whether you feel as if that you just feel overwhelmed, you feel sorrowful, whatever the description is that may describe and capture the essence of what you feel, that's what prevailing prayer requires. And as you pour out your soul, Jesus says his soul was overwhelmed. As he poured out his soul before the Lord, it didn't just happen over one period. In fact, he prayed 3 times, 3 specific segments of time there in Matthew 26 in the Garden of Gethsemane. And the first time he prayed, his 3 disciples that were there, James, Peter, and John, they fell asleep. And Jesus went over to him and said, "Guys, come on, I thought you were going to watch with me." And then he went back and prayed again. Second time, "Guys, I thought you were going to watch with me." Then he went back and prayed again. Third time, he let them rest, but he went back and prayed a 3rd time. Now, for some, they may think that praying the same prayer 3 times is a reflection of the lack of faith. Come on. If Jesus did it, then we know certainly it's not a lack of faith. What it does show in this instance, praying the same prayer over a period of time, is the fact that your soul is overwhelmed. This is the picture of prevailing prayer. I want to encourage you today, find a space and pour out your soul before the Lord, a private space, and with deep anguish and emotions, convey to God how you feel. And what God will do is like what he did for Jesus. He answered his prayer. He gave him peace, and he went to the cross. Like what God did for Hannah, he answered her prayer, and he gave her a son. And the world was benefited by the prophet Samuel. Why? Because of the power of prevailing prayer. This has been a moment that impacts you.